there's been a lot of talk about this defense needing to improve, and that's not just from us media guys. I mean, even Jim and Patrick have admitted that from time to time, and that was a big focus this offseason, and that wasn't necessarily able to happen. And it was tough to manage, contract negotiations plus that. What's your take on the defensive group and whether or not it's where it should be, without singling any names out?
Well, I think that's the forward group, and we play as a 5-on-5. A 5-man unit. I think it's a 5-man defense, if you ask me. I mean, if the forwards have a bad night and turn the pucks over, we're putting a lot of pressure on our defensive players and our goaltender. And, I think a lot of the times, I think defending wasn't really our issue. It was our team play that bit us in the butt, and we kind of were our own worst enemy. So, I'm not worried about our defense at all. I don't really pay attention to, maybe what you guys think are the issues. I think when we played well last year, everybody was defending well. You have to play a good 5-on-5, 200-foot game, and everybody's going to look good. And, you can't just take the bad nights out of that, in my opinion. I think it's a team defense game. And, when we're on our top of our game, like every good team in the league, we're hard to play defensively.
Emma Karsten-Smith, Canadian Press.
Hi, JT. Congrats on both the new addition and the new contract. Obviously, there have been a lot of big contracts handed out to free agents over the past few months here. I'm wondering how closely you were following that and whether it played into your decisions at all.
I mean, you obviously know who signs, I guess. I'm not paying too closely attention to that. It was a slow summer for, I guess, to get where we got, how quickly we did at the end there. But, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that. You're obviously aware of who signs for what. And there were some very big numbers for some forwards this summer, so obviously it's hard to ignore that. All really good players in the NHL, and I guess it really didn't impact my decision. There's a market out there for players, and I'm sure that does matter to some point, but it's kind of out of my control.
You talked a couple of times about wanting to play here and wanting to win with this team. What is it about this group that makes it so special?
Well, I think we've come a long way, and I think we've gotten a tighter knit as I've been here. It's gonna be my 4th year here already, and a lot of some familiar faces, a lot of new faces too. But this group really enjoys each other's time. Like we like each other. It's just a fun group. When we won last year a lot, when Bruce got there, we had a lot of fun, and I think we want to do more. And winning in the regular season is great, but that's not why we play. And I think that if we can, we want to get back to the playoffs, and we want to win when it counts, because I think we're just gonna, for a lot of guys that haven't played a playoff building and a playoff series in front of fans, it's a different beast. And I think that it's a contagious thing. And that's what's so exciting about it, guys. I think the best yet to come.
Jeff Patterson, Rinkwide.
Hey, JT, like everybody else, congrats on the deal. You asked repeatedly that you don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on around you, but I know that on the John Scott podcast, you did say that you were aware that you had been traded basically every day through the off season. I just wonder how much of the noise ultimately made its way to you, and how much did you choose to consume, or is it more, family, friends, people telling you what they're hearing about your future?
Yeah, it's almost 100% just people. Everybody else has a Twitter and Instagram, and I have, I don't pay attention. I don't have it, so I don't really pay attention to that stuff. The hockey community feels very tight knit once you know a lot of people, so. It's basically just word of mouth to me, and definitely gets your mind to turn a little bit. And times it's harder than others, especially when it's not all that clear what your path in front of you is. But yeah, I mean, I thought we did a good job as a family of blocking out the noise, and it just seemed like the people on social media and just kind of drove themselves crazy, is what it kind of felt like all summer with all the hypothetical scenarios. So it really wasn't as busy as as you guys think it was.
And I just wonder too, for this team to take that next step, the component parts, and really in your time here, the power play has been a weapon, and it was under Bruce as well. Like, how excited are you just to bring back basically the same group as you guys grow together, and Quinn gets another year, and Elias hopefully hits the ground running instead of having to work his way into the season? How dangerous can the power play be, and how big a factor do you think it's going to be to leading you guys where you want to go?
It's a huge factor, and I think that's something we take a lot of pride in. Our group, since I've been there, has been in I don't know how we did in the COVID season, but I think we were top 10 last year and maybe top 5 the first year. So we have a high expectation, and that's, creating momentum for the power play for the team is what we always talk about. But I think it's even higher than that. I think it's putting the puck in the net and being timely. And I think that last year we were really started to catch our stride there, especially in the latter half of the season. And we have a very high expectation level for ourselves. So it's fun that we're going to have pretty much, probably the exact same group, and we should just get better and better, and just more and more familiar, and being one step ahead is what the power play is about, and playing fast. And I think we're going to do that, so it's exciting.
Vic Nazar, Sportsnet 650.
Congratulations on everything, JT. You mentioned you had a clear head and this opportunity to be consistent. When you reflect on the three years you've had here, is that something that you maybe haven't had because you're coming to a new team, new country in year one, and then we have the pandemic season year two, and obviously there's so much focus on your personal situation last year with trade talks and everything. Is that an opportunity to kind of have steady footing and have a clear head coming into this year that you haven't had prior?
Yeah, well, I'm sure all the chatter is not going to stop. I mean, it's never going to stop, and that's fine. But I feel like I have a job to do, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up in things, but it's just a distraction. It's a distraction, whether you're the one paying attention to it or the people who are saying it. It's not what's the task at hand. And I look at that as right now having a good camp and getting back with the fellas and starting off the year on the right foot and having a way better start than last year. That's literally the only thing I'm worried about. Social media has taken over the world these days, and especially in the hockey community, it's so small. You feel like one little thing is leaked, and very easy to get wrapped up in that. So I try not to get wrapped up in that. I have plenty going on in my life, and I really don't even worry about it as much as people may think.
And does the contract or the money represent anything to you as far as the recognition of the type of player you become and placing you in a certain class of player? Because there isn't a lot of noise on certain types of players, so we would never trade this guy or this guy. Does this kind of contract put you in a certain class that you feel like, hey, I've always belonged here?
Well, I definitely didn't think I've always belonged here. This is it's something I didn't realize or didn't really think I was capable of earning. I take a lot of pride in that. I don't come from a whole lot, my family, and it means a lot to us. It's very emotional. And, at the end of the day, it wasn't really, to a certain point about the money. I mean, I just want to be somewhere where I think that, we can win hockey games. I'm very fortunate in that sense. And, I feel very, very lucky. My family's good, and I want to come back and ready to get this season underway. It's going to be a very fun season for us. And like I said, I think we're going to catch a lot of people by surprise. But, from the money standpoint, I just feel very lucky and fortunate. But I think I put in a lot of effort and a lot of hard work to get where I'm at.
We're just going to take a couple more here. Next up, Carol Schramm, Forbes Sports.
Hi, JT. Congratulations on everything that's happened this week. First off, I'd like to know, with the new baby and everything, when you and the family will be coming out to Vancouver.
Thanks. I'm coming up this weekend on Saturday, and my wife and the kids aren't coming back till that first road trip's over in October. There's a couple of events my wife is a part of early on in October, and with the road trip, I think it makes more sense for her to hang home and be with family.
Great, thank you. And I listened to that John Scott podcast as well. And so I wanted to ask you about a couple of the points that you made about your own game, talking about wanting to bring a more sort of 200-foot effort, I guess, this season in terms of what you said. And also that line that you walk of sort of playing with your heart on your sleeve and being emotional and maybe trying to rein that in without pulling anything away from what makes you successful.
Yeah. I think there's always room for improvement in your game, but, I think I'd like to give up less to get more. I look at some of my favorite players around the league, and they play in their own end first and 200 foot all the time and very hard to play against. And I think I want to, kind of excel to that level in my own end, be equally as hard to play against in my own end as I am on the offensive end. And I don't feel like it is right now. So, that's something I'm really going to be working for. And, team defense is so important, like we just talked about. And I think if I can add that to my game, and then once we get it in the offensive zone, just play and do what comes natural for me is really going to help. So it's a big focus of mine going into this season. And I think any emotional player will tell you that brings the absolute best out of them. But also, make you look bad sometimes and be a negative influence for the ones around you. And, I take a lot of pride in that. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that could be good sometimes, and sometimes it could be emotional and high volatility. And, that's not really what you want. You want to be even keel, but sometimes I feel like that's harder for me to do because I play with so much emotion and passion, and it's something I'm always wary of and can improve on as well.